Yeah, let's go. I ain't the first with the curse, with the thirst that I wanna be better, not worse, man.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Fantasy Football Truther. Go back to this video and be like, hey, he had him on his list. They were already on my waiver wire. Somebody got hurt. Let me not wait for this guy to have a breakout game. Let me take him now, put him on my bench, don't start him. And if he does break out, guess what? People go to the waiver wire the following week. Everybody on YouTube makes videos, but you already got him on your team because you watched this video. Okay, so for today's episode, it's going to be a combination of secret sleepers. So people that I'm sure that nobody else is going to be talking about on YouTube. All right, so for the secret sleepers portion of the episode, I really wanted to talk about people that I'm assuming other people won't talk about, people that I either on tape or when I deep dive into the stats did really like. The first person on the list is Rashod Bateman, wide receiver for the Ravens. Holistically speaking, looking into like some of the deeper dive stats, I was kind of surprised at how well he performed, especially given the fact that he's essentially the number 3 option on that team as far as catching the ball goes. Looking at tape, he kind of jumped off the tape a little bit as well. He does obviously have some potential. The biggest thing for him is obviously going to be if Zay Flowers stays healthy, Mark Andrews stays healthy, Derrick Henry stays healthy, then obviously he's going to end up continuing to be a wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5, not really going to be somebody that's going to be anybody to pay attention to. It's kind of a big theme of this list as a whole as well, is a lot of these people might not be people that are people that you're necessarily going to draft. They very well could just be people that if there's injuries at other key positions for their team, it's kind of like almost like an early prediction of people that would be good enough to pick up off the waiver wire if there were injuries. So kind of somebody to keep in the back of your mind. He is going around 12 though, so obviously he is going to be drafted. Again, I do think it's going to take a decent amount of injuries to clean up a space for him to actually perform at a level where he would be a consistent starter on your team. From there, this is one of my favorites because I know, like I said, a lot of these are people that are like so far down in the rankings, it's kind of fun, is Andrei Iosivas. Also, the way his name's spelled is fantastic. So deep diving into the statistics, they don't necessarily jump off the page. Looking at tape, though, looking at film, I was decently impressed with how he played, especially when T. Higgins was off the field. He did take a step up. Obviously, there is going to be a lot of competition on this team for targets, and they can only go to so many places consistently. You're going to have Jamar Chase, you're going to have T. Higgins that are dominating the majority of those targets. So again, this is kind of one of those plays that if Chase or Higgins goes down, whether it's for a short amount of time or an extended period of time, I do think Iosivas has the potential to have some of those Juwan Jennings from 2024 spike weeks. So I do think there is a good opportunity for him to be a potential wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, if there's injuries at those positions for the Bengals team. The thing too with Iosivas is he is going around 19, so if you are playing in best ball or deeper league formats, there is potential he could be going undrafted completely. So again, somebody maybe you kind of throw in as a flyer at the end of your draft and kind of just, hope and pray that somebody gets injured, which is kind of a negative thing to say, but I'm just saying it's fantasy football after all. From there, hopping in, be Jayden Higgins for the Texans. Not a big fan of people that aren't coming out of some of like the more power schools in the NCAA. I do think Higgins, again, has the potential when you look at his college tape. The thing, holistically speaking, though, that's really going to matter is what happens with Christian Kirk. I do think there is potential where Christian Kirk could get traded before the season starts, or a point in time where Christian Kirk could get hurt. Or if he performs decently well, I could see the Texans, if Higgins is taking steps, moving off of Kirk, trading him to a team that maybe lost their wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 1 and is trying to contend and is in need of a body. At that point in time, if that does happen, Higgins would be a smash pick because if you're a wide receiver 2 behind what I believe is going to be a much improved Texans offense, it does set you up where, again, he is a great option. The only issue that I have is out of all the players that are on my list, he is going the highest. He is going in round 11, which is a little sweet for me. So if he did drop maybe a round and a half, I would be much more in on him. From there, you got Kyle Williams with the Patriots. I actually think this is a smash pick. He is going in round 14 currently. I think that, again, I'm not a huge fan of people that aren't coming out of really dominant schools in college, him coming out of Washington State. But tape-wise, looked great. Looks like he can be a great fit for this Patriots team. I don't trust in their running game whatsoever. They did upgrade off the offensive line. The only other, in my opinion, target earner to worry about is Steph Diggs. Now, again, that depends on how does Steph Diggs come off the injury. Does he stay healthy the whole year? I do expect a big step up from Drake May as well in play, as well as protection and scheme. You could say this team's going to be very, very run dominant and leaning on their defense, which is completely fine. If Kyle Williams does find himself in a spot where Steph Diggs goes down or Steph Diggs doesn't come back at full capacity, I think you could see Kyle Williams truly have more of a very low key, Lad McConkey style season where it is kind of a breakout, rookie wide receiver season where there's not as much hype behind him, but because of his playmaking ability and there not being another true target earner on that team, again, depending on Steph Diggs, it could set him up where he truly is a viable fantasy wide receiver. From there, somebody else that I know people have a lot of hate on from last year's season because he did a lot of this and then a lot of this is Wandale Robinson for the Giants. I know that people kind of dubbed him the PPR scam, the PPR schemer, which I can't necessarily disagree with because a lot of his performance was based off of a lot of targets, a lot of receptions. Excuse me. When you look at his stats, Wandale doesn't necessarily jump off the page, which again, I understand can make it a little hesitant for him. What I do like though is there should be some level of increased quarterback play. I'm not super high on Russell because he likes to throw the deep ball, and I don't feel like that's necessarily Wandale's game. He's more of a check down princess kind of wide receiver. But if we can get Jackson Dart in there by the back end of the first third of the season, midway through the season, I do think he will become a very viable option because I do think that Jackson Dart is a step above what the quarterback play was there last year. And again, the only other considerable target earner on this team is going to be Malik Neighbors. So I do think it sets up Wandale where he could actually maybe, have a solid wide receiver 3 season. He is going in round 15, so I don't think that's too late, too early. It's probably about right for him. But another guy that I do have faith in those later rounds that I think could perform significantly above where his ADP is. Next are 2 guys at the same position for 2 different teams. I have Tyler Conklin and Noah Gray. They're both going in round 20. Again, they're all tight ends. So when it comes to, and then they're followed by another tight end, ironically enough too, but I'll go with these 2 first. So Tyler Conklin, I understand. If you look at Tyler Conklin's stats, they're not really anything gaudy at all. But if you look at the tape, I do think that there is some potential for him if he could actually get some darn targets, which obviously last year wasn't the case with Aaron Rodgers. I do think it is significant that Harbaugh's bringing him over. I know that he may not be the quote-unquote, tight end 1 on his team at the beginning of the season, but it would not surprise me again if something does happen. I think it's to Will Dissly, or if they start running more 2 tight end sets. If you don't see Tyler Conklin start to pop and potentially become a tight end 1 by the end of the year. So again, might be somebody that requires an injury or a scheme change, but if it's somebody that you can have in the back of your mind that if an injury does happen or a scheme change happens, you might be able to hop on him a week before his pop where everybody hops on him on the waiver wire. So maybe instead of getting him for free, you have to pay for him. So just something to keep in mind. Same thing for Noah Gray. Obviously, Travis Kelce is the tight end 1 on this team. I think if you watch tape last year, Travis Kelce looks washed. I hate using that term, but he just doesn't look like he has it anymore. Again, on tape, watching film, Noah Gray looks good, very viable. We know how much the Kansas City Chiefs like to throw to their tight ends, which is why Travis Kelce was tight end 1 for so many years in fantasy. I do think that if Travis doesn't stay healthy or doesn't perform, I could see them starting to do more 2 tight end sets or Noah Gray getting more opportunities on the field. Again, going around 20, he's going to basically be undrafted. Somebody who, if Travis Kelce goes down or Travis Kelce starts to get faded out, might be someone to keep in the back of your mind. It might be somebody that you can pick up at the end who would be undrafted as your backup tight end, who I think has the potential to realistically be a tight end 1. It really comes down to Travis Kelce. So we'll see what happens. From there, Justice Hill is another one, running back for the Ravens. He's going in round 16. I know there's a lot of handcuffed running backs. I do like him a lot. I think, again, statistically speaking, not that significant, but when you look at the tape, I do think he's very explosive. I think that if we do see Derrick Henry regress or maybe potentially get injured just because of the number of his touches last year and his age, I do think that based on this offense, how much they are going to score, I do think Justice Hill is a great person to take in round 16, round 17, depending on where he goes. It could be a running back 2 or 3 in fantasy football and set yourself up where you have a guy, again, where you're at that stage in the draft where these people are really just, you're taking shots. I think that Justice Hill is somebody that's worth taking a shot on based on a situation, based on Derrick Henry. I think it's a good opportunity. From there, Pat Bryant, the rookie wide receiver for the Broncos. I am a big believer in Sean Payton. I don't think that Sean Payton messes around. If he's drafting somebody, if he's taking somebody, I expect them to perform. Guys going in round 18, I'm not going to say that his tape was amazing and fantastic in college, but again, I trust Sean Payton. So if you're looking for a wide receiver to take at the end of your draft, shoot a shot on somebody. I think that you can do a lot worse than taking Pat Bryant at round 18 with a little flyer shot. My last one is somebody who I think had a much better chance of being viable before Davante Adams got there. That is Jordan Whittington for the Rams. He is obviously a wide receiver. He's going around 23, which means being undrafted pretty much everywhere. If you are doing a dynasty league and you are having your first draft, oh man, put him on your list. If you're going in a redraft, again, you're not going to draft this guy, but put him in the back of your brain as an early thought for a potential waiver wire claim. If we hear news that Davante Adams goes down, that Puka Nacua goes down, that Tutu Atwell goes down, if any of those players get injured, especially the first two, the actual starters, keep in mind Jordan Whittington is a guy who I think can be a guy's guy in fantasy football and to be someone who's very viable for your team. I do think for a lot of these are going to be injury dependent or situationally opportunity dependent, which again, mostly is based on injuries, but somebody to keep in the back of your brain, people that I think are studs that can be really good, viable players in fantasy if given the opportunity, if things break the right way. And if you have this list percolating in your brain or written down somewhere before somebody gets injured, or they start to slightly break out, you can go back to this video and be like, hey, he had him on his list. They were undrafted. They're already on my waiver wire. Somebody got hurt. Let me not wait for this guy to have a breakout game. Let me take him now, put him on my bench. Don't start him. And if he does break out, guess what? People go to the waiver wire the following week. Everybody on YouTube makes videos, but you already got him on your team because you watched this video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. Hopefully it was educational, informational. Hopefully it helps you, gain a little bit of an edge, whether it's when you're drafting, whether it's when you're looking at the waiver wire, and hopefully helps you go a little bit farther in fantasy football this year, maybe win, who knows. Let me know how it goes, down the road in other videos. Hope you guys have a blessed day. I'll see you guys real soon. No, just kidding. You guys hopefully will see me again real soon. Have a blessed day, guys. Bye.